Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 Wii review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Donkey Kong Country Returns, which if you've never played it before, it's basically a platformer. So usual rules apply. You start the game, you choose one of the files. As always, I will be sticking to the first world because the amount of times I get wrong for spoiling things, even so much as funnily enough saying that Donkey Kong was in Punch-Out a long time ago, I got really bollocked for that. So anyway, you can choose one player or two player, but it doesn't really matter because it's got drop in, drop out co-op. So if someone has to leave, you can quickly switch it back to one player, or if someone comes around, you can quickly switch it to two player. Extras are just artwork and music and things like that, which you unlock by beating levels and worlds and getting Kongs and coins and etc. etc. It's just one of them things. I don't know why they're bothered to be in there. Options, it shows you the controls. You can't customise your controls, you can't do anything with your controls. The extensiveness of your controls is plugging in an nunchuck or not, and you can also choose audio volumes and that in the options. So 8 worlds and then some secret stuff as well, but mainly it's just your usual Donkey Kong Country or platformer setup, I suppose, because obviously Mario's pretty much 8 worlds and then extra stuff. So World 1 here, you might as well notice, well, I might as well say it because you probably noticed it right away, Candy Kong's not there. There's no need to struggle to beat 4 or 5 really hard levels in a row just to get to a save point, because, well, it saves all the time now. Cranky's still here, but he's a shop now, and you can buy yourself extra lives with your Donkey Kong coins, or you can buy yourself some invincibility juice, an extra heart container, or Squawk, who helps you find puzzle pieces, or you can buy yourself a key, which will unlock a secret level. So, anyway then, let's actually get into the gameplay before I start, well, just blathering on the menus for ages. You've probably noticed the time attacks there right away. Basically, when you beat a level you can do that, and the inventory is just for the things that you bought to assign them for a level, because you don't get them forever, you just simply get them for the level. So the game starts off with this completely unnecessary motion control thing. You have to waggle it around to kick the crap out of, well, the enemy that's in there. And this is basically where I start slagging the game off something fierce. The unnecessary motion controls that are forced upon you. To ground pound, you waggle the joystick. To roll, you hold the direction and waggle the joystick. Like the pad, the Wii mode, whatever you want to call it. I know I'm being very retro by saying joystick. I don't think they've been made for years. Or to blow, you waggle the pad and hold down. And there's no way to change that, and it's incredibly annoying, especially for someone like myself who used to roll all the friggin' time on a Donkey Kong game, because now I just don't do it because it's unresponsive, it'll screw you over, and it's just shocking. Unless, of course, you've got Diddy Kong on your back, and then you can just roll forever. There's literally no stopping you. You can crash into enemies and that, and hitting a wall or an enemy that is on fire or something is pretty much the only thing that will stop you. So if you're on a flat surface, you can just continue rolling and rolling and rolling. It's pretty much what you have to do for the time trials, for one thing. And as I say, with the energy bars, you might have already noticed, I've got 4 bits of energy. Well, now I've got 4 bits of energy. Basically, if you've got Diddy Kong, then you get an extra couple bits of energy. You get the ability to double jump type thing, because it's a rocket boost, so you can glide, and it just makes the game again stupidly easy for reasons that, well, you probably should know by now if you've played a Donkey Kong game. Because pretty much the only things that make this game hard are the shocking controls. It's basically Metroid Prime syndrome, because on the GameCube I absolutely loved Metroid Prime, despised the controls, and it made it really hard. When I got it on the way, the controls were excellent, and the game was really easy. So it's one of those. The game would be better if you could play it with a classic controller and set ground pound to just simply holding down and bashing a button, or set roll to pushing a button. But that's the one player. The game has a whole heap of problems on the 2 player as well. So, before I mention some other problems with the, what co-op introduces, I suppose I'll mention the core gameplay, because if you've never played a Donkey Kong game before, the whole point is you go left to right, right to left, jump up and down and that, smash your way through walls and blocks and things, and shoot out of barrels and jump in mine carts and all sorts of other things like that, to get to the end of the level, and you do it all over again until you get to the boss. The problems that the co-op introduces is something that I can't particularly show off one of right now because I'm in the minecart, but I will show it and I'll at least explain it for now. Diddy now has a gun. because it was introduced in Smash Bros. Brawl, and he's got this gun now so he can shoot a lot of enemies out the way, which means that sections where you used to have to leg it and time your jumping to get past enemies aren't as hard anymore, because now you can just shoot a lot of the enemies out the way. You can't kill everything with it, but you can still make some parts easier. Much like the camera, which is just zoomed in, is making some parts of the game harder, because it's the type of thing that I don't understand where the camera's coming from. Sometimes it zooms out a bit too late for my liking and I end up dying because of that. And it's just, again, back to the problems of the game's only really hard because of its flaws. But anyway, this is that cannon, and you'll never guess how you actually fire the cannon. That's right, you waggle the Wiimote. So, other things that I might as well mention about the co-op. Whereas before, see, Donkey Kong magically leaped to his death. Magically leap, thank you. Oh no, what am I ever going to do? I need to find a DK barrel, right? Wrong. You can now expend a life right away to get a DK barrel. Now, don't get me wrong, on sections like that, it's not perfect. You have to get your timing right. But whereas before, if your partner died, it would make life so much harder for so many ways. Now, you can just bring them back instantly. You don't have to bother about finding a barrel. You can just bring it back and expend a life. And as lives aren't exactly hard to come by on the game, because after all, you can replay the first level over and over and over again, or you can do the sandy or sloppy sands glitch type thing where you can get infinite Donkey Kong coins to then buy a hell of a lot of lives. It just, again, makes the game unnecessarily easy. And it's just incredibly annoying. It's also part of the problem with when you start a level, because if one of you died, then when you'd start the level, you were on your own. Now you can just hit pause, go into the menu, and, well, buy them back for the start of the level. And as for the bosses, well, the energy bars make the bosses a bit easier, which I'll show off now. So, this is the first boss, and it's basically simple. You have to just, like, jump on his back. But, as I see it, I get hurt and lose a bit of health. Well, all I need to do is hit him, and I'll most likely get a piece of energy back. It doesn't happen every time, but if you can hit him 2 or 3 times in a row, you'll get a piece of energy back. Then the only problem you've got is, obviously, if the other character collects it. Unless, of course, you're on one player, and then it doesn't matter if you collect it, as, well, it's your energy bar regardless. But even if you actually die on the boss like that, as long as you've got lives, then you can hit the 1 button and come back in. Obviously, I haven't got any spare lives. I've been too busy dying intentionally to show off some of the problems that I have with it. But it's one of those that just... There's so many things that don't need to be there. They weren't in the original Donkey Kong. They don't need to be in this one. And they pretty much ruin anything about the new one with bad controls, dodgy camera, and all of these new little things. It's one of those. My brother was looking forward to this game more than any other game out there because he's always been a big fan, and I just sat there saying, I just hope they don't ruin it, I just hope they don't ruin it. And as far as I'm concerned, they've ruined it. Yeah, I know I'll get some crap for this, there'll be the usual, how can you say this game's crap? Well, in my opinion it is, and at the end of the day, it's my opinion. You're on my vid for my opinion. I know I don't really like giving it, but when a game's got this many problems, it's kind of essential. Well, I've pretty much got a couple things left to mention. One of them is that if you're actually playing the game with someone and they get lost off the screen for a bit, or if you reach a barrel that wants to teleport you before they do, then they'll actually be teleported to where you are. A little timer will appear and you just wait the timer out, and I honestly don't see the need for it. It also means that if one player's worse than the other, then rather than forcing them to, well, get better at the game, the good player can just do the part and, well, get the other to teleport all the time. And it's one of those. I just, again, don't really see the point for it. There's also a slight problem with the grabbing on it, because basically you can grab onto vines and that to climb them, and you have to push a button to do so. Now, on the Wiimote, if you push the grab button, it's also the run button. On the nunchuck, the grab button's not the run button, because it appears there's no run button for the Wiimote. The nunchuck, you just use the analog and it automatically runs for you. But when you are using a nunchuck and Wiimote, then you can actually grab onto Diddy Kong and almost play the 2-player co-op as in 1-player mode type thing, and you pretty much do all the same stuff. The only difference is the second player can then fire peanuts off your back, so again makes it a little bit easier, because the good player can just do the grunt of the work and the bad player can just shoot things to make it easier for the good player. So again, don't really know why that's actually needed. Rambi is on the game, in case you're wondering about the animals. Basically Rambi the Rhino is on the game, and he's got 2 different attacks, and you guessed it, you have to waggle the Wiimote for both of them. One of them you have to hold the direction and waggle the Wiimote, so a little bit of variation, but again it's just waggle, waggle, waggle and more waggle. And it's one of those, it's just a shame that there's so many problems with the game, or at least that I have so many problems with the game. I understand this is me saying it, you might not have these problems, and hell, I'd actually love it if you didn't have the problems. I'd love it if you bought the game, paid your hard-earned money, and got a game that you loved, because I'm not the type of asshole who's going to say, how dare you enjoy a game, because you're paying your money, you deserve to get a game that you like. And unfortunately, I think pretty much everyone does, and as far as I'm concerned, for me personally, this has been one of the biggest wastes of money I've ever had, like, ever thrown down the drain almost type thing, because had they just fixed the control issues and made it so you could play it with a proper pad without waggle, and had the, you know, maybe done a little bit of work on the camera, but hell, that's not even hugely important. I could have put up with the camera if I had better controls, and maybe the ability to play the game on a harder difficulty with, well, out the hearts and without the ability to just get another player to join in as soon as they die, and just things like that. Then, as far as I'm concerned, this could have been, or would have been, I should say, one of the greatest Wii games and one of the best games to come out in a very, very long time. It's yet another case of a little bit of work would have went a long, long way. So, quite literally, the only 2 things I have left to say are things that you've probably already noticed. That the game looks fantastic and sounds even better. So, I'll leave you with a bit of the excellent music. So there we go then, that's been the review. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least found it helpful. You might have noticed I didn't score the game. Well, that's because it's a matter of personal opinion, and yours may very well differ from my own. I'm just here to show you a bit about the game. If you like it or not, well, that's up to you. If you don't like it, or you do like it, feel free to comment. Also, if I haven't answered any of your questions that you may have had, I might have forgot something, or it might just be something obscure. Again, feel free to comment, ask, always willing to help out. Otherwise, if you don't like commenting on YouTube, head over to www.vc-forums.com, where you can chat with me and a bunch of other lads who love the VC, the WiiWare, and hell, even a lot of other systems. We cater to pretty much everything. You can just go there, have a chat about a game, ask about some games, etc. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.